I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely, and this is the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm taking the taboos of menopause and perimenopause and bringing light to the dark. No bullshit, no shame. It's time for us to gain a new paradigm in female health, out with the old and in with the new, and I'm bringing fresh perspectives from someone in the arena. I've been practicing women's health for nearly 20 years, and I'm spilling the tea on what it means to live at midlife, knowing that the best is yet to come. I'm sharing my Gen X approach to living through this transition. Sassy, a bit sweary, and always honest. Tactical tips and instantly usable information is my aim. I hope to make you laugh and that you learn something new that helps you embrace the change. Together, we bring power to the peri. Onward to the podcast. You're tuned in to the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely. Thanks for being here with me today. I love bringing this to you. I love bringing the show to you. I love bringing cool new people to you and information that is deeply useful and knowledge that will allow you to advocate for yourself and to help others advocate for themselves too. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help each other out. Welcome to a conversation that challenges the very foundation of modern nutritional wisdom. We talk a lot about nutrition on the show, so this is a different angle. Our guest today is Caroline Allen, health survivor, co-founder of B Minerals, and author of the highly anticipated book, The Mineral Reset. Caroline's journey from debilitating chronic exhaustion and systemic inflammation to cellular vitality led her through an investigative deep dive into microbiology, soil science, and the hidden mechanics of human physiology. If that sounds dead boring to you, stay tuned. Caroline makes it so interesting and easy to understand. Guys, I see far too many women entering menopause in a state of biochemical bankruptcy. This isn't about aging. It's a systemic failure to address the cumulative nutritional and mineral debt incurred over decades. Why does this happen, you ask? It happens because of chronic stress, overworking, under-eating, and overtraining, and even pregnancy, breastfeeding, and perimenopause. It's not that we got it wrong, it's just nobody told us. So, Caroline is here to tell us. We are moving beyond the simplistic model of basic supplementation and into the territory of cellular replenishment. If you feel like your tank is empty, it's likely because your cellular engines are starved of the minerals required to drive every metabolic process in the body. Now, the conversation today underscores that nature possesses a sophisticated intelligence far beyond our industrial innovations, provided we respect the body's delicate cellular ecosystem. For women navigating the complexities of perimenopause and menopause, healing is a journey of safety rather than speed, requiring gentle, slow changes to restore and resolve long-standing mineralization deficits. Now, if you want to know more, you want to start your journey, listen in. Allow me to introduce my guest properly, please. Caroline Allen, the mineral geek, speaker, author, and co-founder of B Minerals, is on a mission to increase awareness of one of the most overlooked foundations of human health, minerals. Caroline is a passionate advocate for the power of plant-based humic and fulvic minerals to transform health at the cellular level. Her work is rooted in deep personal experience, rigorous research, and a drive to educate others about what it truly means to nourish the body through mineral replenishment. Caroline's upcoming book, available today, The Mineral Reset, The Essential Guide to Replenishing Your Body and Restoring Your Health, will be released through Hay House Publishing with a foreword by renowned functional health expert Dr. Mindy Pelz. The book provides a clear and empowering path for those ready to reclaim their health through mineral replenishment. Caroline has a background as eclectic as it is groundbreaking, spanning choreography, carpentry, online technology, and entrepreneurship. Caroline has always thrived at the edge of innovation. Her journey into the world of minerals began after years of struggling with gut inflammation, adrenal fatigue, recurring infections, and other mysterious symptoms that were all too often dismissed as just normal. Refusing to accept that answer, Caroline discovered the profound healing potential of plant-based mineral supplementation, which led her to a full recovery and a whole new life's purpose. Her deep dive research into human physiology, microbiology, cellular biology, agricultural soil science, and plant decomposition has shaped her unique approach to mineral education. With clarity, passion, and a talent for demystifying complex science, Caroline helps people understand how mineral depletion affects health and why fulvic and humic substances are essential to restoring natural balance. What began as a personal journey has become a movement. Caroline Allen is not just teaching people about minerals, she's setting the way we think about health from the ground up. Her guidance is a lifeline for anyone seeking real root cause solutions for their health. I love bringing content like this to you because I know how incredibly useful it is. Without further ado, please enjoy my second conversation with Caroline Allen. The AG1 you've all heard me talking about for so long just went through a major upgrade. AG1's next gen is here. It's the same single scoop once a day, but now it's clinically backed and formulated with more upgraded vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. The new next gen formula offers a more advanced, clinically backed formula that fills common nutrient gaps and supports gut health, all in the same easy once a day ritual. AG1 has been a game changer for my mornings. It sets the tone for my day, helps me feel my best, and like I'm taking care of my nutrient needs in one step. AG1's next gen includes 5 clinically studied probiotics and additional vitamins and minerals to support whole body health. Now clinically backed with an advanced formula, this is the perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't yet. I've been drinking AG1 daily for 6 years now, and I'm so happy to be partnering with them. Subscribe today and try the next gen of AG1. If you use my link, you'll also get a free bottle of AG D3K2, that's vitamin D3K2, an AG1 welcome kit, and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com. That's drinkag1.com/Fiona Lovely to get started with AG1's next gen and notice the benefits for yourself. That's drinkag1.com/Fiona Lovely. Here's something that might surprise you. When our estrogen drops during menopause, we don't just lose protection for our bones and our brain. We lose estrogen's protective effects on our heart. Your heart is packed with mitochondria, the cellular powerhouse that keep it beating strong. But as we age and go through the stages of menopause, oxidative stress can damage these mitochondria, affecting our cardiovascular health in ways we're only just beginning to understand. That's where MitoQ's hero ingredient, mitoquinol, comes in. It's the world's first mitochondrial target antioxidant that gets directly into your mitochondria, targeting stress at the source. Studies show that 20 milligrams per day of mitoquinol in older adults can improve arterial function by up to 42% and support healthy blood flow, exactly what our hearts need as we navigate this life stage. Ready to support your heart where it needs it the most? Visit mitoq.com and use my special code LOVELY10 for 10% off your first order. That's mitoq.com, code LOVELY10. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. You're tuned in to the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely, and I have an old friend on the show today who is here to school us once again on minerals. Caroline Allen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, Fiona.
Thank you. Well, I'm so happy to have you. I remember the enthusiasm with which I listened to you talk about minerals the last time we spoke. And I know this is one of those topics that you could probably spend your life talking about. I imagine you do, and never really get to the bottom of how important these things are.
It's so true. It's so true. The more that you learn about minerals, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah. And actually, they say that's a sign of you being in the right place, the intelligent being in the right place. If you start to feel like you're the end all be all, then you're on the wrong road, boo. You got to go down the other road.
That's great. I love that. I'll remind myself of that when I feel the most ignorant.
Well, and I had a teacher tell me that so many years ago, and it has stood the test of time for sure. It's just one of those things that's just a reminder. If you feel like you know nothing, despite everything that you have done to study this, you're on the right track.
That's awesome. I love that. Thank you.
Okay, so for those women who are listening to the show that have not heard our previous conversation, I invite you to go back and listen. Give us the 411, the condensed version. Why do we need to pay attention to minerals?
Yeah. If you are in your car or you're listening to this in your home or you're out on a walk and you look around you, all of the structural elements, every single one in the universe is minerals. At a fundamental foundational level, it's all minerals. So that's the first reason we need to pay attention, because everything in your body, if you look at your body, look at your hand, look at your, look at your legs, every structural element in your body is minerals at the basic foundation. If we took all the water out of your body and decomposed you, you'd be a little pile of minerals. So that's the first piece. The second is that minerals are, with amino acids, the fuel for energy in your body. And most of that energy occurs inside your cells. Now, your body makes a lot of amino acids. Some come from the outside, but minerals are the foundation. I like to think of it like a campfire. If you're going to build a campfire, you're going to need some wood. And the wood is like the minerals, the heavy duty fuel. And the amino acids are like the tinder, the more available, smaller wood that you need, or tinder that's going to light quickly. And the match is your mitochondria that live inside your cells. And inside of your cells, you've got a lot of these little campfires happening. If you've got a lot of minerals and amino acids, those campfires are constantly burning, 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 lighting, burning, and creating almost all of the energy in your body that allows me to sit here, talk to you, breathe. My heart is pumping. There's hundreds of autonomic processes happening. I'm thinking. There's neurotransmitters, there's hormones, there's all the systems. And we tend to think about our body as parts and pieces. I've got a heart, I've got a lung, I've got a liver, I've got a microbiome in my gut, I've got, structure and tissues. And we tend to kind of act like our bodies are like cars, meaning like, what do you do in your car? If something's wrong with your car, you take it to the mechanic. We're used to going, oh, I've got a problem, I'm going to go to a doctor, or maybe it's a specialist or somebody who knows a lot about this particular issue. But if you start to shift your thinking and start looking at your body as actually completely made of cells that are powered by these mitochondria, which is fueled by these fundamental elements, minerals and amino acids, it can change the way you think about your body and shift to a more holistic thinking about your body as a natural ecosystem that, when supported from underneath with the proper fuel, is able to gain balance, homeostasis, create enough energy so that it can do what it naturally can do, which is thrive.
Mm, beautiful. So, do we get minerals from our food?
We do. The problem is that even since, in 1936, there was a special session of Congress in the US about mineral deficiency in the soils, like a critical mineral deficiency in the soils. And what have we done since then? Absolutely nothing. And in fact, we've actually done very bad things, which is we've put glyphosate in our production farming practices, which literally kills microbes in the soil and does all sorts of different things. So there was a study done in 2002, and it measured foods grown in the 1950s and foods grown in 1999. And it showed a significant nutrient density, less nutrient density in the foods. So the problem that we have today is, I'm a big believer in food as medicine. But the sad thing is, you cannot. It is impossible. You would not be able to eat enough volume of food to get all the mineral and micronutrient nutrition that you need, that your cells need. So we are all walking around. I mean, there's a study done and it's well known. I'm not sure of the date, but I think it's like 2022. And it showed 97% of people show multiple mineral deficiencies.
That's huge.
Yes. So this is really the vanguard of health. And what do we have? We have a huge rise in chronic health issues really all around the world. And much of that, what I say from the research that I've done, is that much of that is driven because the body, which when fully fueled can generate about 1,200 watts of electricity, like enough electricity to run your blender, your toaster, But if you're not able to generate enough energy because you don't have enough fuel, maybe you're only generating 800 watts or 600 watts, half the amount that you need. And so your body has to pick and choose, and it just can't do everything.
Like when you
So,
talk about it like power like that, that is just, I mean, it's like a really great way to talk about it because I think about the fact that it would be so handy for us to actually have an owner's manual. This would be one of those things that would need to be like things like macros. What do you need to do in terms of your proteins, your carbs, and your fats? What are the vitamins and minerals need to make sure you have enough of? it's it's amazing to me that just how many folks put no thought at all into what runs the mitochondria, what runs the cellular function. But of course, it's not really fault of their own because few people have been taught this. You and I know this because we work in health, right?
it's so true. And I say it's like if you go and buy a car, let's say it's your first car, the first thing you're going to learn is how to put gas in the tank, how to put oil in the oil reservoir, how to fuel the vehicle, how to make sure things are running properly, right? Windshield washer fluid, radiator fluid, whatever. And we're actually, most of us are walking around doing something like filling a cup with gas and putting it in the cup holder in our car, thinking that's going to fuel the engine. Like we don't understand because we just haven't been taught the fundamental fueling system of our body and how it
Mm.
works. And so once you learn it, it's like the most empowering thing. It's incredible.
Incredibly powerful and useful, which is nice because there's a lot of rando information out there. You don't know who to talk to or what supplements to take or what cream or potion to take or what health advice to take. So I've been doing this work for a long time. So have you in healthcare for 25 years, if you count my professional schooling. And what has stood the test of time is that the simplest solutions are often the most effective.
Mhm.
And that's just a basic tenet in science called Occam's razor. But that's
I
another
love
concept.
Occam's razor.
Occam's razor
Well,
is so good. Yeah.
and that's how I got into it because I'm not a practitioner, and I actually came into this because I had a health crisis, And it was about 10 years ago, and I had flatlined adrenals. They'd been flatlined for over a year. I had come out of a very intense corporate career. I had to quit because I could not continue. I had bad inflammation in my gut, inflammation in my mouth with bad periodontal disease, bone loss in my teeth. I had recurring sinus infections. I didn't sleep at night. I woke up 3, 4 times a night and had a very difficult time falling asleep. And what changed it was minerals, and particularly plant-based fulvic and humic mineral substances. But after going to many, many, many doctors, experts, specialists, practitioners of all ilk, trying to heal myself, spending thousands and thousands of dollars on my health because, my insurance didn't cover most of it, and trying all sorts of supplements and you name it, pretty much I've tried it. And just a little cup of liquid over the space of 8 or 9 months, all of those symptoms that I just described completely resolved. And that's what left me with this incredible curiosity. Like, how could something that not a single doctor, practitioner, specialist, anyone mentioned to me have made such a difference? And that's when I started really studying mineral depletion, mineral replenishment, and specifically plant-based minerals.
Mm. So the whole purpose of this show has, for 11 years now, been to teach women what they need to know to become advocates for self.
Mm.
And what you just said is so important to that. It's so many of us have had these experiences where we've gone out seeking help and nobody has the answer, or we get partial answers, or we get partially better.
Mhm.
But then it's because we went down some weird rabbit hole somewhere, or somebody said something to me in passing, and I went, huh, that's ringing a bell. And you go and do the research. Is the same thing for you?
Exactly, exactly. And once I learned it, I mean, it's why we started B Minerals, because I went to the person who introduced me to the minerals. And after I did this research, I just went back. I said, we have to bring these to the world. I mean, I can think of 100 women right now
Right
to
now. Exactly.
be helped by this. We
Yeah.
have to bring the information. And then ultimately we had to bring the products. And then ultimately I put it into a book because I wanted to make sure that people understood, the difference between putting gas in the cup holder and actually putting it in the fuel tank.
Wow. Okay. We got to unpack this. Let's put a pin in the book. We're going to come back to that because, man, I want to know I can't wait to read it. So I know it's going to be good because you and I have had this conversation and it's such a good one. There's so many really important key bits. Okay. But here's the thing. First, I get excited. Caroline, please excuse me.
Me too. Me too.
Good, good, good. After interviewing well over 100 guests, I'm still get excited when people bring their expertise, and I know it's useful. Okay, humic and fulvic, you drop those terms. Can you break those down for us, please?
Yes. Humic and fulvic actually represent nature's solution to getting minerals and nutrients into cells and then detoxifying cells and cellular systems. They are ubiquitously available out in nature. All plants, if you go out in your backyard garden or look at a forest or, anywhere, they're being utilized. And if you've ever heard of mycelium, which are these they're a kind of mushroom kind of thing fungi, excuse me,
Mhm.
that
Mushroom network. Yeah, yeah.
but they deliver nutrients to roots of plants over miles. And what they're delivering are small packets of these two molecules, humic and fulvic, in many cases. So, humic and fulvic come from the decomposition of freshwater plants. And what they represent is the way that nature continues to replenish itself. So, a plant grows in the soil, and the way it grows is it pulls minerals and nutrients from the soil, uses the minerals for structure as well as energy production with amino acids to grow and become, whether it's a small pea shoot or a big, huge tree. Okay.
Right.
At some point in nature, those plants die. They get too old, they die, they fall, they decompose. And in that decomposition process, it's a very, very complex microbial, lots of microbes and fungi, all sorts of things are breaking down that plant material. And what results over a long period of time are these fulvic and humic molecules. And what I say is that these fulvic and humic molecules are nature's way of storing energy for cellular life, for future cellular life. So they are what like completes the sustainable loop that nature relies on. Things grow, they die, they decompose, their components of minerals and nutrients go back into the soil. They're stored in these molecules, humic and fulvic, which are then again very available to plants' roots, and it completes the cycle. Now, in our modern day, we do production farming. We do farming in general. We harvest. We take food away from where it was grown. We eat it away. We dispose of the waste far away from where it's grown. So you do that in soil over hundreds of years, which is what we've been doing. And the soil itself loses that you've broken that loop. You no longer are getting that enough of that nutrient storage in the humic and fulvic because you don't have as many plants that are decomposing, and then you're also putting glyphosate on the soil and on the plants, which kills the microbes. So this is the key thing, is this sustainable loop that nature relies on, and humic and fulvic are central to that process. What they are is they're two molecules. And actually, I'm going to talk about humic first because fulvic actually is incorporated in the humic molecule, but we're able to extract the fulvic molecule from the humic. So they become two separate molecules. And they exist in nature in both ways, incorporated as one humic molecule with fulvic in it, and also separated in fulvic, the fulvic molecule and the humic molecule separate. And it depends on pH and many different kind of chemical components that create that possibility. The humic molecule is the way I like to describe it is if you take your hand and you put it in a fist and you imagine that is the humic molecule, and the head of a pin is your cell, a single cell in your body. So it's very large relative to a cell. And it has a lot of surface area on the outside. And like a sponge, if you look at a sponge, there's all these, spaces, and it's a huge amount of surface area. But what's interesting about the humic molecule is it's a polyelectrolyte molecule, which means that some areas of its surface will be positively charged and some areas of its surface will be negatively charged. And that allows it to move through your bloodstream or your gut and pick up biowaste, toxins, heavy metals, nanoplastics, free radicals, glyphosate, graphene oxide, all viral detritus. So all these things that create problems in your system, it literally binds to them.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
And it's even particularly interesting relative to heavy metals, because if you read a certificate of analysis describing humic, you'll see that it actually has some heavy metals in it. But what's interesting about the molecule is that those heavy metals have no valence. They have no ability to come free from the molecule. They're completely bound in the molecule, and they act like a magnet in the system, gathering other heavy metals to it. So they're incredibly effective at the detoxification and remediation of heavy metals in water, in soils, and in your body. So really, really cool there as well. And because of this, detoxification capacity, I call humic Mother Nature's janitor. because it just works continuously in the background, gathering gathering all those things and carrying them out of your body. Ultimately, that molecule gets so heavy at a molecular weight, it falls out of solution the way, like if you took some powder and you mixed it into a glass, and then if you let it sit, those things would, the powder would precipitate to the bottom. And that's what happens. The molecule gets so heavy, it falls out of solution and it leaves your body through all of the pathways, including your tears, your snot, your sweat, your saliva, your earwax, you're just sloughing off cells, and of course, your urine and feces as well. So, incredibly effective for continual detoxification, which is very important in our modern world where we're constantly bombarded by environmental toxins. The other thing the humic molecule does is that it interacts with cell membranes. Now, think about your cells like if you're in a room right now, imagine you're inside a cell and the walls of your room are a cell. And maybe you have one door and one window. And if you have one door and one window and they're both open, so much can go in and out at a certain level of efficiency. But if you had four doors and four windows, more things could go in and out more quickly and more easily. And that's what the humic molecule does when it hits into your cell membrane. It causes your cell to be more permeable. It interacts with the proteins and opens more channels in the cell. And this is particularly important today because many people struggle with cell membrane health. And as this is one of the reasons that we're struggling with mineral deficiency is because we're struggling with nutrient uptake into the cells, because cell membranes due to, seed oils and other environmental toxins are impairing cell membrane permeability.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask where we get the humic
Yeah.
and tell us about the fulvic,
Yeah.
please.
I'm going to describe where they come from and then but let's first talk about fulvic because humic and fulvic are like partners in health. They health of cellular systems. I consider them a natural technology. So the fulvic molecule, now if you hold your hand in a fist
Mhm.
and you think about the head of a pin, your fist is now your cell. This is the size of your cell, and the fulvic molecule is the size of a head of a pin. It's extremely tiny,
Okay.
extremely small. But what's interesting about the fulvic molecule is it carries with it all the minerals that your body needs in the natural ratios you need to receive them in. And that is very cool. It's like nature developed a pre-formulated mineral molecule that is a delivery system for minerals into your cells. It's so small. And when it hits up against the wall of your cell goes, oh, that's fulvic. I recognize that. That's a beneficial substance. We'll open the gate and let the fulvic through. Now the fulvic and so instead of having like maybe one magnesium molecule, you've got all these minerals that are coming in all at one time. And it comes into the cell and then it does what no other molecule on earth can do. It changes its polarity. And when it does that, it drops all of its nutrients and minerals off inside the cell where all those things are now available to the mitochondria that are inside that cell. That's the only molecule on Earth that can change its polarity.
Right. This is the God molecule, as we
This is
talked
what
about before.
they literally don't know how it does it.
Does that?
And
Yes.
when you study it, you get into quantum mechanics, Higgs boson, quantum singularities, uh,
Cool.
quantum entanglement, some very, very high level scientific concepts.
Amazing. And I just want to say the intelligence of the design behind what the human needs and what the earth provides is just extraordinary to me. Extraordinary.
It really is. I mean, the interesting thing is that at a mitochondrial level, our cells work the same way that a redwood tree works at a mitochondrial level, meaning we need the same ratios of minerals that at a mitochondrial level that a redwood tree needs. It needs a lot of magnesium, potassium, sodium, the same macro minerals that we need, but it needs all of those micronutrients as well. And it really needs to receive them in these natural ratios. And it totally makes sense because we evolved on the earth next to, all of this other plant life, and all cellular systems evolved in the same place. Whether you're an evolutionist or not, you can see, and believe in evolution or not, you still can see the connection as above, so below. That everything at the very, very foundational level is built by minerals and fueled by minerals and amino acids inside the cell by the mitochondria, with all these with specific ratios of these minerals. So nature created a pre-formulated molecule, and it's called fulvic.
And those of us that know science and pay attention to these things, nobody's surprised. I'm not surprised. It's
Right.
extraordinary. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
So now it's delivered its bolus of minerals into the cell and nutrients, and now it travels around in the cell and it picks up biowaste, toxins, heavy metals, viral detritus, nanoplastics, free radicals, glyphosate that has gotten into the cell because your body thought it was glycine, which is an amino acid. So it gathers these things and it now carries them out of the cell, and it changes its polarity again, and it drops those in the bloodstream, where the humic molecule, its partner, continues to go through and pick them up and carry them out. So it's literally this two-pronged, the fulvic being this intercellular transport tool, constantly moving in and out of the cell, and the humic molecule staying in the bloodstream and also in the gut, and just gathering all these toxic things and carrying them out of the body.
Okay. And you want to take them together, is what you're saying.
I believe you could just take fulvic for a period of time, but you wouldn't want to create, and this is over a long period of time. It's not like over days or weeks, it's probably months. You wouldn't want to constantly be taking toxins out of your cell and dropping it in your bloodstream unless you're using, I mean, you could use binders, I suppose, as well, but humic is the most effective binder. Actually, I want to talk about one really cool thing about humic that I learned in the last couple years. Humic is a very interesting molecule, and we call it an effector because I don't like to use the word adaptogenic, but it has the ability to adapt to its environment. So let's say you take a pill of magnesium. Now, we think we're doing a great thing for our body. We're taking some magnesium because somebody said we need magnesium, or we're trying to sleep, or maybe, foster elimination. And we now have a concentration of a lot of magnesium in our system, more than our system wants, because minerals work in balance. And ecosystems like balance. They don't like concentrations of single substances, period. So you've got a concentration of magnesium. And what does the humic do? The humic starts binding and gathering that magnesium because it's a concentration. At that moment, it's considered moving towards a toxin because it's too much. It's out of balance. But as the level of magnesium in that local system starts to reach homeostasis, it will stop binding to the magnesium. And this is another thing that they really are studying in depth because they can't understand how it knows. Now, we think or at least the science that I've read thinks it has to do with pH. And it's all about trying to maintain certain pH levels. But it's very, very interesting and extremely exciting to imagine having something in your body that's constantly working to gain and maintain balance, homeostasis throughout your entire system.
I love it.
Yeah.
Forces. There are forces at work to keep us in balance. And, as a chiropractor, I say this on the show quite often. Basic tenet of chiropractic is health needs no help, just no interference, which I love.
Exactly.
And I'm reminded of this so often when I talk to people like you that have expertise, and I hear the simplest thing that makes the biggest change, and also, again, the intelligent design within. So amazing. I mean, what a what a cool thing to have discovered. And I love what you said about, well, actually, both of them, both humic and fulvic. I'm just looking at my notes. They are, I mean, how long have you been looking at this? Are you tired of it yet?
No, I only get more and more excited.
Yes. Yeah, maybe I might talk to
Literally,
you.
I just get more and more excited.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we get this? Is it a dietary thing? Is it a what is it?
Well, so humic and fulvic that humans use comes from ancient decomposed plants. So these aren't like your compost heap or, take plants and grind them up and let them decompose. No, this takes a long time to happen. And most of the substances, the humic and fulvic substances around the world come from 65 million years ago, when the earth was covered with in a much wider swath than it is today with rainforests. And a meteor hit the Yucatan and it killed 75% of all life on Earth in a few hours. And all of those rainforests died and decomposed, and they became humic and fulvic deposits. And we have different kinds of deposits around the earth. In the Himalayas, they have something called shilajit. It's a tarry substance that oozes from rocks, rocky mountainsides. There is peat that's in the British Isles. It's a clumpy soil-like substance found in bogs, peat bogs. In South America, there's something called terra preta. There's Africa, there's another one. And North America, we have both leonardite, humate. There's some other ones as well, but generally they're more crystalline substances, like a sandy crystalline substance, and they come from below the earth. So there's lots of different ways that you can bring humic and fulvic into your body. It's one of the things that I do in my book is I have a whole buyer's guide, which is really useful to help understand, well, so I want to get some humic and fulvic. What do I do? How do I know? And, all of that. And it helps you really understand, because there's lots of different ways that you can get it. A lot of people use shilajit, but it has a bad flavor. Some people use peat. They put it in capsules and they take it, but it's not a very sustainable resource. So with beam minerals, we have a liquid, and what we've done is we've taken that crystalline substance and we've actually extracted the humic and fulvic into separate molecules, and we've created two different products. So you've got something called Microboost that is a humic product, and it's dark. If anybody can see me right now, it's in my glass. Actually, I have fulvic and humic in here. But it tastes like water, and it's basically the molecule, like the base molecule, attached to water molecules. So your body readily absorbs it, has no flavoring, which means that you don't need to digest it. Anything with a flavor, your body has to first go through its digestion process, but things that don't have any flavoring and are a small enough ion are able to be absorbed readily, really easily. So this is part of the thing that I'm helping people to understand about how their car works, their vehicle, their body vehicle is. We've been taught to think of how much. Well, how much magnesium is in that? How much potassium? How much sodium? How much chromium? How much zinc? How much, based on minimum daily allowances and those kinds of things. But when you're thinking about minerals, what you have to do is, instead of asking how much, you should ask, how bioavailable is it? How easily is my body going to be able to access its mineral content all the way in my cells, not just in my gut, not just in my bloodstream, but all the way inside my cells.
Mm,
And that's what
okay.
that fulvic does. You see, the fulvic,
Mhm.
it absorbs readily, and then it delivers the minerals, literally delivers the minerals right into the cells where the mitochondria are.
So the fulvic carries the minerals, the humic comes along and picks up. That's the sponge that comes along and picks
Mother
up or
Nature's janitor.
right. I love it. I love it. Okay. The last time you and I talked, we talked about how often, how frequently women enter perimenopause with a mineral deficiency or a mineral debt. Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
I can, and see, that was my experience. So I was at that time I was entering perimenopause, and I had already, I'd had two children. And if you think about growing a child in your body, the way all the structure of that child is grown is by taking minerals from your body. All of the energy, all of the stuff that's happening in that fetus is coming from your body. So many women come out of childbirth and they don't know how to replenish minerals. So they already are already in a deficit. And then they enter perimenopause, and their system, which is going through an ecosystem sea change event, you know, if we think about our body as an ecosystem, this would be a huge event in the body that's not happening over time, just like right now, because that's how ecosystem changes happen. They slowly shift, and then everything starts working differently. I mean, it's a beautiful thing because ecosystems are incredibly adaptive, incredibly adaptive. But when you start in a deficit, then the ecosystem struggles to do its natural adaptive process in way, and you end up with all of these symptoms. The interesting thing about, if you look at the perimenopause symptoms, the sleep, the mood dysregulation, maybe cramping, brain fog, all of these things are exactly mineral deficiency symptoms.
Oh, wow.
People ask me, how could sleep be a mineral deficiency issue?
Yeah.
It's really an interesting one. Think about it like this. Your cells don't have what they need. They literally are seeking, and they don't have enough minerals to create that 1200 watts of energy that you need. So what do? They send a neurological message to your brain. I don't have what I need now. I don't have what I need now. Go looking. I don't have what I
Mhm.
need now. Something's missing. I need something. I'm hungry. Something. I need some sugar. I need some salt. Go open the fridge. You know, like they amp up your nervous system, increase cortisol. It sends your body out of parasympathetic and into that sympathetic reactive um, experience, neurotransmitter wash. So when you start replenishing your minerals on a regular basis, and this happened to me, it happened to me with sleep, it happened to me with mood regulation, it happened to me with just nervous system, like my whole nervous system coming into a more relaxed place where I was now responding rather than reacting, responding much more often than reacting,
Mhm.
simply because my cells at a very, very fundamental level were saying, I got what I need here. Everything's good here. No problem. We got what we need. Everything's good here.
Wow. Again, simple.
You see,
Simple.
it makes sense. That's the thing. It
Yeah.
completely, because, if I don't think of my brain fog as a brain problem, and my sleep problem as a sleep problem, and my mood problem like I should go to a therapist, but I say, oh, what if this is a cellular issue? What
Hmm.
if I support everything from underneath and my body actually goes, yeah, everything's good here,
Yeah.
you know? It happened to me so strongly, Fiona, that people
Yeah.
started saying, you're different. Like, what's
Wow.
going on with you? Like
Wow.
they started reflecting back to me before I really, I was getting reflections from outside rather than thinking I had changed.
Let's talk about sleep for a moment. Because if you're navigating perimenopause or menopause, you know that a truly restful night can feel like it belongs to another lifetime. The night sweats, the restless hours, the 3 a.m. wake ups that leave you exhausted by the time you're supposed to get out of bed. This is exactly why I want to tell you about Cozy Earth. Their bamboo sheets and pajama sets are made from viscose from bamboo, temperature regulating and moisture wicking, designed to sleep several degrees cooler than cotton, so your body can actually rest even when your hormones have other ideas. This isn't about fixing menopause, it's supporting your body through it with comfort that adapts to the season you're in. And Cozy Earth stands behind their products with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty, because quality, comfort shouldn't come with an expiration date. Head to cozyearth.com and use code LOVELY for 20% off. And be sure to tell them I sent you in their survey. Because the woman who holds it all together deserves to be held in comfort too. Thanks, Cozy Earth. So once again, I'm just stunned and amazed by how simple it can be. And again, we try to make it complicated. And sure, the science that Caroline and I are talking about is complex for sure. But as far as what needs to be done, it's actually quite simple and intuitive, really. That's probably one of those things that should have been in that human instruction guide too, just how depleting a pregnancy is.
Yes.
And how women often enter pregnancy in a depleted
Already,
state.
exactly.
Yes.
Well, and we have huge fertility issues now.
Yes. And is that connected to the mineral problem?
Absolutely. Because think about it. How is your uterus going to build a healthy environment for an egg to implant if you do not have enough minerals in your body to run your body? Your body literally says, yeah, we can't do that. We're not going to be able to grow a fetus in this environment.
And yet, the fertility doctors will take tens of thousands of dollars from you and not talk to you about that. But that's another story.
I actually have started working with quite a few fertility practitioners using the minerals with their patients. So that's very, very exciting.
Yeah, I'd say fantastic. Okay, something just popped into my head. Now let me think about what that was, because I am perimenopausal. Anyways, absorption versus, let's talk about that. And we talked about it a little bit, but kind of break that down for us, please.
Yeah. So this is the question really about, rather than asking how much magnesium or potassium or, big macro mineral is in a product, ask how bioavailable it is. So when you take in a mineral through your mouth, it has to be first digested, and that means it has to be broken down all the way to its ionic chemical component size, ready for absorption through the lining of your gut into your bloodstream. And that digestion process relies on digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid in your stomach. It relies on a whole bunch of things. So if your gut is dysregulated and you're not developing enough enzymes in your gut, because guess what is required to develop enzymes in your gut? Minerals.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So this is a chicken and egg syndrome. Okay. I mean, every single biosynthesis process in your body requires minerals, and not just 3 or 4 or 5, but like 18 different, lots of different minerals for different kinds of enzymatic process, protein building, all sorts of different things, hormone production, et cetera, et cetera. So, but let's say in your gut, you don't have enough enzymes. So that mineral, most of it goes straight through you. If you take a pill of calcium, say 500 milligrams of calcium, you only even digest maybe 10% of it. Most of it's made from bovine bones, okay, cow bones, and your body doesn't, your gut digestive tract doesn't actually break down bones very easily. So most of it goes straight through, but a small amount of it becomes ready for absorption. Now, the lining of your gut is covered with these finger-like structures. They're called villi, and those structures are covered with these cells called epithelial cells. And each one of those cells is lined with these receptor sites that they're like catcher's mitts. They're like places for things to land, like a magnesium molecule, as an example. But they're not just general catcher's mitts. No, they're specific to specific minerals. So when we talk about that balanced ratio of minerals that your body needs, the lining of your gut is actually designed so that there's a ratio of certain receptors. You've got a lot of receptors for those macro minerals, the magnesium, potassium, sodium, calcium, and you've got smaller numbers of receptor sites for chromium and selenium and zinc and vanadium and molybdenum and things you've never heard of that you absolutely need. So, but let's say some of that calcium hits that receptor site. Now, the interesting thing is you might say, oh, I better take more calcium because I'm going to, because so much of it goes straight through. Well, guess what? The more calcium you take, the less gets into your bloodstream. They've done studies that show if you take 1,000 milligrams of calcium, you end up with less magnesium in your bloodstream, which is very interesting because why is that? If you think again about ecosystems and how they work, if you've got a concentration, the body goes, I've got too much. We got to get rid of this. Let's bring all the guys to get rid of this to bring the system back into balance. So it's actually working overtime to manage the concentration of calcium, of too much calcium, instead of working on absorbing and getting that into your bloodstream and breaking it down, et cetera. Let's say about 10% hits a receptor site and is absorbed into your bloodstream. Now that's only two of the stages, digestion and absorption, because that calcium doesn't do its job in your bloodstream. It has to get inside your cells. So now you have calcium molecules floating around, and every once in a while one hits a cell, hopefully in a healthy area of the membrane, and the cell looks at it and it says, yes, that's calcium, and it opens the channel and it lets that one calcium molecule into your cell. So you can see that system is not the most efficient. And and that's why this process, which is called diffusion, which we're probably getting too technical, there's lots of other ways, and one of the most effective ways is using the humic to create more permeability in your cell, and the fulvic to carry a whole bunch of calcium molecules into your cell all at one time and drop them off and deliver them.
Thank you for that explanation, because I think that's really useful information. As you're telling the story about calcium, I can think of all the osteoporotic patients I've seen in my chiropractic practice that have been told by their medical provider that they just need to take calcium, but then the calcium ends up being a constipator, and then there's more minerals added to it. And then, of course, there's studies that are showing if we get too much calcium, it affects the heart, because the heart definitely uses calcium as its fuel source. Anyways, it's all very helpful to think about. And again, we can be far simpler in our approach with these things and far more intuitive, I think, is a good way. Let the body tell us what it needs. I love that approach. Okay, I want to come back to talking about the Cretaceous tertiary boundary, which is how I learned about it 65 million years ago. Basically, for anyone listening, that's the interstellar event, shall we say, that caused the death of the dinosaurs, just to make it Hollywood-esque. Now, my former life as an archaeologist, the KT boundary was a really important thing.
Gosh. Have you come out to the Southwest United
States? Oh, yes. Absolutely. Please, you invite, I come. It's funny. I was just actually, as I was telling you earlier, I was talking to a friend in New Mexico and looking at the Four Corners and the Navajo Nation and all the beautiful things that I could go look at there if when the time is right to go for a visit.
Incredible.
Yeah, beautiful area. Okay, so back to the KT boundary, which it is Cretaceous period with a C, but I believe it was a German scientist that named it. So Cretaceous was at the K, which is why we call it the KT boundary. Anyways, our minerals, aren't they just a galactic thing? Like, don't they come from outer space? Like, wasn't it this meteorite that landed, or meteor that landed in the Yucatan, as you said, brought these minerals to us?
Well, do you mean, again, this is when you just start really looking into it, you recognize that all structure in this universe and all universes is minerals, and some of them we don't even know what they are because we've never seen them. And, because they're substances, particular molecular structures that we don't recognize in our chemistry because we just haven't encountered them. So, do you mean did they bring humic and fulvic to us?
Yes, in
No,
a way.
I don't really think so.
Okay.
Um, because what I see is that, I mean, I suppose it's possible that they brought microbial elements in that meteor that seeded that. But from what I believe and from the research that I've done, I think humic and fulvic was on the earth long before that event, because all of the cellular life that was all that plant life in all of those forests, all those rainforests, and the incredible diversity of cellular life and how much it burgeoned in a fairly short time when you think about millennia.
Mhm.
I imagine that would have happened much, much sooner
Mm.
in the history of our planet.
Well, and I think from what sense from what you've taught me today is that the fulvic and humic were almost more of a mechanism more than for what was needed for the growth on the planet. From my understanding is the elements like iron, magnesium, calcium, um, and a bunch more that are just
Yeah,
not coming to mind
yeah,
right now.
that's fine.
Silicon, all of that stuff is due to arrival from off the planet Earth. So that's kind of where my question was from. It was I
Yeah.
should have given you some time to think
No, no,
about that
you're
one.
fine. You're fine. I think it's an interesting conceptual framework, and maybe maybe all life came from off the planet.
Mm.
You know.
Oh yeah. Now, see, this is what I did not expect today, Caroline, was that you and I would end up having a spiritual conversation. That's at least 50% of what we're talking about.
Right. Right. Like, what are we really?
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
if you took all the microbial and bacterial and like all the other entities and things that are living in our body, there's not much that's us actually.
Yeah, we're just made of stars. In fact, one of my earliest podcast episodes, when it was just me talking, I didn't have guests yet. I actually had an episode called "We're All Made of Stars," and
Oh, I
that's when
love that. I
that's
love
when I
that.
talked about us being the stuff of stars in our bones. Anyways, it was ultimately a conversation about bone health. Okay, so let's talk about irrigation versus hydration, please.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a big one. So, one of the biggest problems actually with our current water system is that we're mostly drinking filtered water. I'm going to start with that because I want people to understand water first. So, at no other time on our planet have people drunk water that had no minerals in it. And water is a carrier molecule. That's what its job is to actually carry and shuttle minerals and nutrients around your body and particularly into your cells. When you take water that has been stripped of its minerals and it's just H2O with no mineral content, it literally goes straight through your body. Your body does not absorb it. We'd have to get into a much deeper scientific explanation to understand how things are actually absorbed, the chemical process or the biological process. But just suffice it to say that water that is empty of minerals mostly goes straight through your body. So, what do? We now use things like electrolytes, electrolyte stick packs. But
Mhm.
here's the thing, your body, like the earth, has different kinds of systems. So, the ocean is salty on the earth, but the rivers and lakes are freshwater. They're freshwater systems. And your digestive tract is a freshwater system. Your bloodstream is very close to the salinity of the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah,
Again with the spiritual thing. Okay, go on.
exactly. Okay. So again, as above, so below.
Yeah.
But, years ago, scientists said, oh, these soldiers and these athletes, pro athletes are struggling with heat stroke and with other acute deficiency symptoms. We need to just get these electrolytes into them, these Again, electrolytes are just minerals with a strong electrical charge. We call our macro minerals, which macro minerals are minerals you need a lot of. The potassium, magnesium, sodium, calcium. These are the macro minerals. There's a few more too. But mostly what we use is salts. So we use these salt-based electrolyte products are putting a huge amount of salt into a freshwater system. And you would never, if you poured a huge amount of salt into a river or a lake, the organisms that live in that freshwater system would not thrive. And so if you think about your gut microbiome, all of the fungi and microorganisms and plant life and beneficial bacteria, they all thrive in a freshwater environment. So again, and the other piece is that, ecosystems thrive with small incremental amounts of balanced ratios of nutrients and minerals over time. They don't thrive with concentrations. If you poured a wheelbarrow of salts into a pond would be like, what the heck, The organisms and the plant life, everything would freak out. Same thing if you took a wheelbarrow of magnesium and you threw it on a forest floor. The plants in that area wouldn't thrive. They would have to wait until water, et cetera, had come and taken away that excess. So when you try to hydrate using something like a salt-based electrolyte product, what you're actually doing is irrigating, which means your body says, I've got too much and I'm just going to let this run off. I need to get this out of your body. And you start urinating more. And now you're not hydrating. You're actually, and taking a lot of sodium throws off this balance between potassium and sodium, which is the whole way your body hydrates. And hydration, to be clear, is when you get water into your cells, not just in your bladder, not just in your kidney, not just running straight through you, but actually absorbed and assimilated into your cells. And you do that by having a proper balance between potassium and sodium. And people they're like, oh, well, no, that's fine. I'm taking an electrolyte supplement that it's already balanced. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still salt. Mm-hmm. It's still mostly sodium. So you take 1,000 milligrams of sodium and you put it in your gut every day with a flavored stick pack. And mostly what you're doing is you're creating dehydration in your system because your body's trying to get rid of all that salt. So it's making you urinate more. And over time, there are issues that happen, particularly with magnesium. And this is why I suggest women who are struggling with perimenopause, menopause, and they're struggling to sleep, and they're using magnesium for sleep. In the short term, it will work, but over the long term, your body says, I need to balance this high concentration of magnesium that you're putting into the system every day or every evening with calcium and phosphorus, because those are the balancing minerals for magnesium. And where does it get calcium and phosphorus? It gets those from your bones. Those are fundamental to bone structure in your body. So don't do it if you want to do it once in a while, you have an acute situation, you really need to sleep and you're struggling. But if you start replenishing all of your minerals over a period of time, I'm going to say 4 months, 6 months, your sleep will regulate. Most women's sleep will regulate.
Oh my God, yes, please. This is all in the book. Yes, you've written a book.
Yes,
you've taken
yes.
all of the details that we need to know in some, again, I told you I was analog. I love a book, put it in my hands. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to tape flag it. I'm going to make notes. So tell us, the book is called The Mineral Reset, yes?
Yeah, and it's essential. It's an essential guide for replenishing your body and restoring your health. And it's a paradigm shift, helping people shift from the body as parts and pieces, more like a car, to the body as an ecosystem. It takes using stories. It's really written for people who just glaze over when you start talking too technically. So I use my story and my aha moments to take people through a journey so they can really come out feeling like, wow, I understand how my body works. Like this makes sense to me. And that's what I find more and more is people, when they start reading, they're like, this makes sense. This is like that thing that I've always felt was something, there was something, but I didn't know what it was. And this is it. So I take them through the kind of educational material. Then I provide like a buyer's guide for if you want to get minerals into your body. There's a section about detoxification, about continual detox versus acute detox protocols, and how you really need to be doing continuous detox using something like humic. And then there's a whole section where it's a reference section for people with different chronic symptoms. So let's say you have autoimmune, or you've got Lyme's, or you've got, I don't know, you're going through perimenopause. There's a section for you where you can read about minerals and how they can support you with that particular situation you're dealing with. And then at the end, there's a mineral reset program that is, you can do it self-paced. I'm also going to actually be providing the mineral reset program at the end of May, a live online version, so people can walk through it together with me.
Amazing. We need all of that, and we need it to be as simple as possible because perimenopause is a deeply, deeply important transition in a woman's life, but also, girlfriend, too busy to figure out this stuff for ourselves. So the more wise ones like yourself that we can have step in and teach us, the better, the better. Don't you find that women are really looking for, as I haven't yet graduated fully to menopause. Every time I think I do, surprise, not done yet.
Yeah.
But I'm noticing that the women in their 30s, and well, the women in their 30s, when you say menopause, are straight, frankly scared. But the women in their 40s are like, okay, well, they're looking to us, the older sisters and the aunties, to say, what happens next?
Yeah.
And when I say the wise ones like yourself to rise up, right? And share your story of how you replenished yourself, what you
Yeah.
learned along the way. And I'm so grateful to have this in a book. Thank you for writing it.
Thank you so much. It has been a dream for a long time, and it's being published by Hay House, which I'm very
So
proud to
exciting.
have such a
Yeah.
great publisher. And I really feel it's going to help so many women. And men as well, and children, and just families, at every stage of life, every
Um,
stage of life. Yeah.
Amazing. And I do believe this episode is going to drop on the day the book is available. So if you're hearing this conversation, then you can go and purchase Carolyn Allen's book. Where is it that they can go to grab the book?
Yeah, go to mineralresetbook.com. Mineral Reset. It's also available on Amazon, but I recommend you go to mineralresetbook.com, because if you order the book there, you will get a bundle, which is a really cool package you're going to get that's going to have all sorts of stuff in it as well as the book, including 2 tickets for you and a friend to the book in our series, the Mineral Reset program that I'm putting on.
Oh, I love it. So I totally agree with you when you say you feel it's going to help so many people. I feel that too. I feel it deeply as you're talking about it. And sometimes we just know truth, you know, it
Right.
just shows up. Yeah. Okay, Caroline, where can people find out more about you, about Beam Minerals? Tell us what we need to know, please.
People can go to carolineallen.com to find out more about me. They can go to the book site again, mineralresetbook.com. And they can also, if you're interested in just getting started on your mineral replenishment journey today, you can go to beamminerals.com/your discount
Lovely.
code. which
It's
we'll put in
lovely.
the
Yes.
show notes.
Yes, exactly.
Which we'll put in the
Exactly.
show notes.
Yes, thank
And I
you.
always recommend people just start with the advanced set. Or if you're a woman and you want to go a little bit more, there's a women's complete replenishment set. And that's a great one. It has our flagship products, Micro Boost and Electrolyze, as well as an incredible spray that you can spray on from the outside called Instalights, and also another one called Happy Lights, which I love Happy Lights. It's a mood shifter. You just spray it, breathe it in, and it changes the neurotransmitter wash in your body. So either the advanced set or the women's complete set at beamminerals.com.
And those sprays are amazing. They're literally, I've got them in my bag. They're in my desk. They're in my gym bag for sure. In fact, it's a bit of a joke with my pickleball tournament people because I take it out and I'm like pretending this is an ad from the 80s and just
I'm telling you, pickleball people love Instalights. Yeah.
It's so good. And the mountain bikers do too. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, for the cramp, for the muscle cramps, etc. It's amazing. So thank you for championing this information, but also such fabulous products from Beam Minerals. They are absolutely, without a doubt, my favorite supplement that I take because I really do notice the difference with it. And sometimes I don't. But with Beam, that is absolutely for sure. And again, the Instalights, like I said, they're my favorite. Okay. I have a question that I ask all my guests. By the way, thank you again for coming on the show. Thank you for dispensing this information. I know it will be so useful to the women in my community. So thank you for
so
that.
much. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you always. I just really enjoy you so much.
Yes, I feel the same way. and we've met in person, which is also really cool.
Which was great. I loved that moment.
Over a hyperbaric chamber, no less. That's a story for the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So the final question I have for all my guests, Caroline, just let your instinct guide you here. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell myself to learn to tend my own fire. It's something I've been learning about recently is women are trained to tend other people's fires and to tend the fire for the community, the family, the relationship, the business, the whatever, fill in the blank. And what I am learning now is how to tend my own fire, that if I can build my fire so it's so bright and thriving and beautiful and just shining, that's where I can bring my real not a value to the world. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And you will light others' fires. They will come and light themselves with you.
Exactly.
Beautiful. This is the whole point of the wise ones. So thank you for stepping forward and being that for us in my community. Caroline Allen from Beam Minerals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiona.
The information and other content provided in this show or in any linked materials is not intended and should not be construed as medical advice, nor is the information a substitute for professional medical expertise or treatment. We are doctors, but we aren't your doctor. Seek your doctor's opinion. If you or any other person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical treatment. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have heard in this podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. The opinions and views expressed on this page and in this show have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, health practice, or other institution. Thank you.